As you know, we live in a world where it is very easy for any of us to get on a platform and share our thoughts and opinions and points of view with the whole world, just like I'm doing now. However, there are times when, we have people who use those platforms to share their points of view or their opinions about things, and yet there may be no substance to it. There may be no experience sitting behind it. And I'm sure you're well aware of a number of personalities who have used platforms to impact people all over the world, and yet they've been found out to be, for want of a better word, a fraud. And there are reasons why we will gravitate towards some people and why we will want to hear what they're talking about and be really interested by it, and also be influenced by it. And regardless of whether, what they're talking about has any substance to it or foundation. But this has happened, for over many decades. However, more of us have got a platform now to be able to do that more often. And, when we see some of those personalities probably don't come across this way, but strong personalities can really impact us and convince us to believe them and to, follow whatever they're telling us to do, buy whatever they're telling us to buy. And yet there may still, like I've just said, there may be nothing behind it. But they'll convince us and we want to believe them. And that can also have something to do with where we're at in our own lives, personally and professionally. And it's hitting the mark for us. Because we can do that with anyone if we just know how to, send the right messaging to influence those people. And this can also impact teams or groups of people when the personality is strong enough that they can lead the team or that group in a certain way, and it may not always be in a good way. I know I've been in positions where I've seen a group of people be really influenced by someone, and where I'm sort of sitting there going, I don't get it, or there's just that feeling of unease in the stomach about what this person is on about, and the personality that they're projecting. For me, something doesn't sit, and I don't always have the reason for it. Sometimes it's just that gut feeling that people don't want to hear about. Not everyone, but just that gut feeling that something's not right with this person. I'm not really believing the message that they're delivering. I'm not believing, the person that they are presenting. But not all of us will have that same experience that I do. And that comes back to, especially when we do talk about teams, how we need to educate our leaders especially, and also our team members, around looking for, if I'm going to follow this person, why am I following them? What is the message they're delivering, and why am I believing it? What sits behind it? Where is the substance to this? Where is the experience in what they're delivering? And I get to be a part of delivering programs to leaders and team members. Sometimes it's education that I've been a part of designing. Sometimes it's not. And sometimes I'm on the receiving end. And sometimes what is being delivered, it's not actually accurate. But people will sit there and believe this stuff because they don't know any different. And I've got to say, I facilitate with others, and we do know, well, gee, if I forgot to say that, they're not going to know. But sometimes you're going with what is happening in the room as well, and those that are in the audience. And that's what a lot of people can do too. If they know what their audience wants, they're going to deliver that message. But for me, it's about the quality and the substance of it, and making sure we are delivering the right messages that actually help people make the right decisions in all aspects of their life. How, even though that I'm coming at it from a professional perspective in relation to how they, work within their teams, how they lead teams, because we do want there to be, quality messaging, but we also want people to be genuine and have substance and be authentic in who they are when they're in those experiences. And some of that comes back to the core values of the person involved and also the core values of the team. And there's nothing wrong with someone coming in and rocking the boat. Sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need to be broken out of whatever norm we've got into that actually doesn't work for us. So it is perfectly normal to have opinions. It's perfectly normal to have a point of view. However, I do challenge you to look at, well, is there substance in this? Where is this, opinion, this point of view coming from? Is there something behind it? Question it. And especially when there are times when you think this just doesn't feel right, be courageous enough to voice that and say, look, I want to understand more about where you're coming from. Because these points of view and opinions can lead us down an avenue that may be destructive for us. We need to be really conscious of where we're headed and not to be afraid of questioning what people are telling us, because we don't have to believe everything that we're told. Sometimes we need to really question, where is this information coming from? Where are the foundations for it? Is this person genuine? Where is there